Hey guys, I'm Lee from Lee Likes Music, the place to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp. And in today's video, we're going to talk about another album by Compression Sunrise. He has just released his self-titled debut album, so that's coming up. So Compression Sunrise is a really mystical artist to me. I randomly searched up like musicians and bands on Bandcamp within the rock music genre, and I just randomly found him. And when I entered his Bandcamp profile, the font color and the background color were almost identical. They were both black, I would guess, and in order to see any of the things that he had written there, you had to highlight everything on the page. So yeah, very weird and mystical. Another thing that was quite odd is the fact that his album, as of now, it was priced to $1,000 for a digital download. But at the end of the day, I found out that that wasn't really that weird. Sunrise, on like below on his Bandcamp profile, he had stated that the album is essentially done, but not quite. Priced to prevent downloads until then. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. Now, I listened to one of the songs on this album and I was completely floored. I was really fascinated by what I was listening to. And after just one or two listens to the whole album, I knew that I had to review this album right away. It's a very open-minded and experimental album that gives you a little bit of everything. There's acoustic music here, math rock, prog rock, orchestral music, noise. I hear influences from Flying Lotus, Radiohead, Mhiss. Now, I wanted to download the album, so I sent an email to Sunrise asking if there was any sort of way I could download it, if he could send me the audio files without me paying $1,000. And he replied me a day later saying, I'm waiting on the album to be mastered. I put it up to show some friends beforehand. I definitely did not think I would have a listener in Norway. Once I update the page with mastered versions, I'll make it name your price with a $0 minimum. I'll send you an email when it happens on the chance that you might be still interested. Thank you very much for your interest. Anid. So Anid seemed like a really cool guy because he answered, first of all, and I'm really looking forward to the finished version. But anyways, let's get into the album review. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the songs that I like the most. The first one is called She's So Heavy. The first thing that I noticed when I listened to the song is that Anid's voice is so warm and very soothing. There's a single synth that provides this melody that lilts and drifts in the background, and then 30 minutes into the song, this big electronic glitchy cacophony just kind of blows up and erupts. Beside this noisy environment that you're suddenly introduced to, you can hear that there's a synth and a guitar in the background that is playing this harmonious melody, kind of grounding the track in a way. It's a really unexpected opening track and I loved it so much, so make sure to check it out. The second track that I want to mention is called Strange Dream, and this is when I first started to notice Anid's lyrics. His lyrics are quite dreamy and open-minded. I can give you a little bit of an excerpt here. This fog I cannot escape flows through the night from your dream. I knew you when we could pretend, but we will not fly from this window. So yeah, it really doesn't give it a meaning. It's quite vague, but I still feel like it fits perfectly to the melody and the cadence of the song. So it really doesn't matter if it doesn't have any concrete meaning. In the beginning, this sounds like a very dreamy folk song. He is only using an acoustic guitar. He sings with this very eerie voice. But this is a really progressive track. Suddenly you're introduced to this orchestral sphere that suddenly interrupts everything. You hear violas, violins, maybe even a cello. And thereafter it springs into this jazz landscape that is constructed by these moody horns. There's some drums, electric guitars taking over. A really beautiful song that I highly suggest you go and check out. The third track that I want to mention is actually the third track off of the album, and it's called AC Star Shower. This really reminds me of an old Muse song. It's not exactly the compositional elements that remind me of it, but there's one part of the song that really has like, there's a similar melody to one of Muse's older songs, but I can't exactly pinpoint what song it is, but yeah. This song is like a breath of fresh air. I love the fragmented guitar that is played throughout the verse and the chorus. It gives the whole song this very fragmented, fractured, is that is that the word? I have no idea, but it just it sounds incomplete, but it sounds good because of that. The verse has this childish charm to it, while the chorus majestically kind of glides into this very peaceful and soulful end part of the song. The next track that I want to mention is track number 5. It's called As You Are. This is definitely one of the most beat-oriented songs that you'll find on the whole album. It is very basic. It is far less experimental than the other songs. The introductory verse is really uplifting and accordant. It is basically made up of these 2 guitar layers that play these half-muted, single-noted melodies. It sounds fantastic. Beside the melody, you have this standard 4/4 drum beat, which really just emphasizes the rhythm a lot, and it makes it a lot more catchy. It makes it very direct. Now, towards the middle of the song, there's this shadow of dissonance that slowly kind of swallows the instruments and the melody. It eventually raptures into this noisy, distorted, and loud passage before it returns back to the verse, which, you know, the second time you come to the verse, it sounds a bit more apocalyptic and doomy compared to the first time you listen to it. The first verse is really upbeat and very positive, while the second one sounds a bit off. There's something dissonant and negative about it. It's as if the fragments of this noisy middle passage is still lingering on in the second verse, and I don't know, I kind of like that. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the details in general on this album, because that is one of the things that Anid really nailed when he made this. This album is like a mosaic of small details hidden throughout the whole album. The auto-tuned and cloaked snippet that you'll find 29 seconds into She's So Heavy, that is a great example. You also have this Pink Floydian guitar riff that is played on the second track. This static noise that slowly kind of creeps up on you on the track PreEternity. It all just adds up to this very enriching musical experience. Other things that I also appreciated about this album is just the open-mindedness. This album is so experimental, and it is really trying hard to create something new. It's trying to blend all types of different things together into one cohesive idea. It's a very dynamic album. Everything is changing, and you never know exactly what you're going to get, no matter where you are in the album. And that kind of brings me over to what Anid could have done better with this album. I think that halfway through the album, at track number 7, PreEternity, that is when the album starts to kind of decline a little bit when it comes to the addictive, very engaging musical experience that you experience early on. It kind of declines from there, and that is because of what I just said. The album really doesn't have any direction. It always changes. There's no cohesive idea behind everything that is going on to a certain point. The cohesive idea that Anid is trying to go for here is the fact that it's not cohesive. He's trying to always change things up. He is trying to go for a sound that never settles, and that can be kind of unsettling at times. That should be like a quote. Someone should put that up on a wall or something. The production quality here, just to mention that as well, that is really good. It is not optimal, but it's good. And you can hear this on the very uttery sharp noise that you can hear on the track She's So Heavy. It just, I don't know, this cacophony of noise, it kind of screeches in your ear a little bit. I find it a bit unsettling. Some of the last tracks on the album also have lower volume compared to the first tracks, and this is something that Anid noted himself. This was something he was writing in the description of this album. This is not actually the finished album. This is the second version of, I almost forgot the name, Compression Sunrise. This is the second version of Compression Sunrise, and Anid is going to release a finished, fully mastered version, which hopefully and most likely will be better when it comes to the production and like the overall sound. I'm really looking forward to hearing the finished version of this album, because it was so different, and it was just a fresh breath of air. I'm gonna give this album Compression Sunrise by Compression Sunrise, or Anid as his real nickname is, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Make sure to check it out, there's a link below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you'd like to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp, then I highly suggest you click the red subscribe button below. Also make sure you hit that bell icon beside the subscribe button, because in that way you'll always get notified when I upload new videos to this beautiful place right here. Thank you for watching, hope to see you later. Stay tuned. Bye.